Picture this: 3 modern-day elite soldiers, dropped right at the gates of a massive, imposing medieval castle. It's the 14th century, the air is thick with the smell of wood smoke and, well, let's just say sanitation wasn't a priority. The soldiers are kitted out with standard-issue assault rifles, sidearms, night vision goggles, and enough ammunition to start a small war. Their mission, to take the castle, sounds like a scene from an action movie, right? But could they actually pull it off? Let's break down this epic clash of eras. First up, let's talk about the element of surprise. Our soldiers wouldn't just march up to the front gate. They're trained in stealth and infiltration. They'd likely wait for the cover of darkness. This is where their first major advantage comes into play: night vision. To the medieval guards on the battlements, the night is a murky, dangerous blanket. They're relying on torches and their own eyesight. For our soldiers, the darkness isn't a lie. They can see everything with crystal clarity, moving like ghosts through the shadows. The guards wouldn't know what hit them. The initial breach would be swift and silent. Instead of a frontal assault, they'd use grappling hooks or climbing gear to scale a quiet section of the wall. Once inside the outer bailey, their silenced weapons would be devastatingly effective. A guard spots a flicker of movement, raises his crossbow, but before he can even shout a warning, a quiet asterisk whip from a suppressed pistol, and he's down. No alarm, no chaos. The soldiers can systematically neutralize sentries one by one, creating a secure foothold inside the castle walls without anyone being the wiser. Now, let's consider the psychological impact. Imagine you're a medieval knight. You've trained your whole life for combat. You understand the clang of steel on steel, the thud of an arrow, the roar of a catapult. But what you don't understand is the sound of a suppressed rifle. You see your comrades fall from unseen, unheard attacks. It wouldn't seem like warfare. It would seem like magic, like a divine curse. Panic would spread like wildfire. The chain of command would break down as soldiers flee from this invisible, terrifying enemy. This shock and awe effect is a massive force multiplier for our trio. The castle itself is a formidable fortress designed to withstand sieges for months. It has murder holes, arrow slits, and choke points. But these defenses were designed for large, slow-moving armies, not a small, fast, and intelligent strike team. An arrow slit is a two-way street. A knight peeking through to fire his crossbow becomes a perfect, stationary target for a modern rifleman hundreds of meters away. The thick stone walls that were meant to stop trebuchet stones are also great at containing the sound of gunfire, meaning our soldiers could clear entire sections of the castle before the main garrison even realizes they are under attack. Think about the main keep, the heart of the castle where the lord and his family reside. Getting there would be a maze of corridors and stairwells. This is where close-quarters combat training shines. The soldiers would move in formation, covering each other's backs. A group of knights charging down a narrow hallway with swords and shields would be met with a volley of automatic fire. A single burst from an assault rifle could cut through multiple unarmored or lightly armored men. Even full-plate armor, the pinnacle of medieval protection, isn't rated to stop a 5.56mm round. The kinetic energy alone would knock a knight off his feet, and the projectile would likely penetrate the steel at close to medium range. It would be a brutal, one-sided engagement. The goal isn't to eliminate every single person in the castle. That would be nearly impossible and a waste of ammunition. The key objective is to cut the head off the snake. This means capturing or neutralizing the castle's lord. By using their modern communication gear, the soldiers can coordinate their movements flawlessly. One provides overwatch while the other to breach the lord's chambers. The guards stationed there, even the most elite household knights, would stand no chance against flashbang grenades followed by a swift, precise room-clearing operation. Once the lord is captured, the fight is essentially over. The soldiers can use him as a bargaining chip. With their leader held hostage by these seemingly supernatural warriors, the remaining garrison's will to fight would evaporate. They would be confused, terrified, and leaderless. Surrender would be their only logical option. Our 3 soldiers wouldn't need to kill hundreds. They'd just need to surgically remove the command structure, and the rest of the castle's defense system would collapse on its own. But what are the risks for our modern team? They aren't invincible. Their biggest weakness is logistics. They have a finite amount of ammunition, batteries for their gear, and medical supplies. They can't just call for a resupply. Every bullet has to count. If they get bogged down in a prolonged firefight, or if one of them gets seriously injured, the mission could be in jeopardy. A lucky crossbow bolt in the dark, a fall from a battlement, or even just a twisted ankle on a cobblestone path could be a game changer. They also have to be careful not to get separated or cornered by a large mob. While their weapons are superior, being overwhelmed by sheer numbers in a tight space is a very real threat. Another risk is underestimating their opponents. Medieval knights were not simple brutes. They were professional soldiers, cunning and brave, who knew their castles inside and out. They could use their knowledge of secret passages, set up ambushes in the dark, or try to trap the soldiers. If the alarm were raised early, the castle would become a death trap, with every door barred and every corridor an ambush point. The soldiers' success hinges entirely on maintaining stealth and surprise for as long as possible. So, in the end, could 3 modern soldiers take a medieval castle? The answer is a resounding yes, provided they play it smart. It wouldn't be a battle of armies, but a special operations mission. By leveraging their technological superiority in night vision, silenced weapons, and communications, and by focusing on psychological warfare and surgical strikes against key targets, they could absolutely achieve their objective. They wouldn't conquer it through brute force like a medieval army, but through fear, precision, and the terrifying advantage of 700 years of military evolution. It's a fascinating thought experiment that really highlights how much the nature of warfare has changed. Thanks for watching, everyone. This was a fun one to think about. What do you think? Did I miss any key factors? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this clash of eras, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. We'll see you in the next one.